For decades, we've basically been sold this one undeniable rule if you want to aggressively slow down aging and extend your lifespan. The rule? You have to starve yourself. Well, okay, actually not literally starve, but practice intense, long-term caloric restriction. We're talking about cutting your daily food intake by a miserable 30 to 40% for the rest of your life. But what if I told you the ultimate biological hack for anti-aging doesn't actually require skipping meals at all? What if you could trick your cells into thinking they're fasting while you're still happily eating? Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down the groundbreaking science of a hidden molecule in your food that does exactly that. So, let's dive into this totally counterintuitive premise. Can you actually get the benefits of fasting while still eating? Now, we know that nutrient deprivation triggers these incredible stress resilience and repair mechanisms in the human body. It's a biological fact, but let's be honest with ourselves. Living in a constant state of hunger is incredibly difficult, demanding, and for most of us, just completely unsustainable. So, science asked a massive question. Is there a biological loophole? Can we secure those anti-aging benefits of fasting without having to endure the absolute misery of starvation?
Think about traditional caloric restriction. It requires constant dietary vigilance, it's highly difficult, and quite frankly, it takes a whole lot of the joy out of eating. But then we have this highly exciting emerging field of caloric restriction mimetics, or CRMs for short. The goal here is simple but completely revolutionary. You eat normally, but you use specific dietary compounds to trigger your body's fasting biology.
Section 1. Fasting benefits without starving.
So what exactly are these? Caloric restriction mimetics are compounds that perfectly mimic the metabolic, hormonal, and physiological effects of fasting. But, and this is the absolute key here, without actually reducing your long-term food intake. When you consume a CRM, it activates your body's stress resilience and cellular maintenance pathways. It essentially sends a biological signal saying, hey, we're in a famine. It's time to repair and protect the body, just like a 30% calorie cut would do. Except, you still get to eat your dinner.
Section 2. The magic of autophagy.
The secret key to all of this is autophagy. In Greek, that literally translates to self-eating. Now, I want you to imagine a microscopic cellular cleaning crew, like little stickmen with brooms and trash bags walking around inside your cells. Throughout your life, your cells build up junk. We're talking obsolete proteins, damaged structures, and metabolic waste. Autophagy is the body's recycling mechanism that degrades and clears out all this cellular trash. But here's the problem. This vital cleaning process naturally declines as we age, leading to a buildup of junk that directly contributes to disease and aging. And the most physiological way to turn this cleaning crew back on? Fasting.
Section 3. Spermidine, the cellular cleaner.
All right, here's the exact biological play-by-play of how our magic molecule works. Step 1. You take in spermidine, which is a natural polyamine compound found in certain foods. Step 2. Spermidine enters your cells and acts as a CRM. It mimics nutrient deprivation. It's essentially hacking your cellular sensors to make them think you haven't eaten in days. Step 3. Panicking that you might be starving, the cell flips its regenerative switch. It aggressively turns on autophagy to recycle old proteins for energy, which effectively cleans up damaged cells and leaves you with younger, healthier tissue. It's brilliant.
And I want to be absolutely clear here. This isn't some fringe theory you read on a random health blog. Look at this quote directly from the highly prestigious journal Nature Cell Biology. Induction of autophagy by spermidine promotes longevity. Top-tier scientific literature links this specific molecule directly to health span extension precisely through this autophagy pathway. This is a rigorously tested biological phenomenon.
Section 4. The longevity proof.
So does it actually work in real people? To answer that, we have to look at the Brunex study. This was a highly rigorous, prospective, population-based study conducted over in northern Italy. Researchers meticulously tracked the dietary habits of the local population through extensive questionnaires, and then they correlated exactly what those people ate directly to their physiological health and mortality over many, many years.
The findings that emerged from this population are just staggering. Individuals with a higher dietary intake of spermidine experienced significantly lower overall mortality. They had reduced rates of cardiovascular disease and decreased cognitive impairment. And honestly, the absolute most impressive part? It's that bottom point. This data was robust against confounding factors. That means the benefits held true completely independent of the person's age, their BMI, their social status, or even whether they drank alcohol or smoked. The spermidine itself was the literal game changer here.
Let's put this into perspective with a few numbers from clinical trials. 1.2 milligrams. It's a tiny, tiny number, but it is incredibly powerful. In an interventional clinical pilot trial, researchers gave older adults a daily wheat germ extract containing just 1.2 milligrams of spermidine. And in just 3 months, this low dose positively impacted memory performance in older adults. Think about that. Just a tiny daily dose over a single season yielded measurable, real-world brain benefits.
Now compare that microdose to this number, 14.5 milligrams. In another one-year intervention study, participants were given polyamine-enriched natto, which is a fermented soybean dish, and that provided a much larger dose of about 14.5 milligrams of spermidine daily. The result? Decreased inflammatory markers across the board in humans. So whether it's a microdose for your memory or a macrodose for inflammation, the human clinical data we have is highly, highly compelling.
Section 5. Spermidine foods to eat. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do I actually get this stuff? As a general rule of thumb, plant-based diets and foods are typically very high in polyamines, while meat-based foods are generally extremely low. Aside from a few weird exceptions like chicken liver, eating meat just won't give you much of this specific, fasting-mimicking molecule.
And the numbers really illustrate that divide perfectly. There is a massive gap here. Meat sits way down at under 50 micromoles per kilogram, while vegetables leap all the way up to 200 to 300. But wait, what's the biggest surprise? Aged cheese is packing a massive 600 to 700 micromoles per kilogram. Yes, you heard me right. Because of the fermentation process, indulging in certain aged cheeses can actually be a potent way to get your anti-aging, fasting-mimicking molecules. Who knew?
So, here is your concrete, highly engaging anti-aging grocery list. To trick your body into fasting mode, you're going to want to load up on wheat germ. It's one of the highest concentrated sources available. Add in that aged cheese, natto if you enjoy fermented soy, various mushrooms, green peppers, broccoli, and definitely plenty of nuts and seeds. Mixing these into your daily diet naturally elevates your CRM intake without you even having to think about it.
But hey, before you run off to the kitchen, here is a quick, highly practical pro tip. The good news is that spermidine is highly stable when exposed to heat, so you can safely cook these foods without destroying the magic molecule. However, it is water-soluble, meaning if you boil your broccoli or your mushrooms in a huge pot of water and then drain that water down the sink, well, you just threw away all your precious spermidine. So, steam your veggies, roast them, or if you do boil them, make sure you use that nutrient-rich water to make a soup or a sauce.
Globally, daily spermidine intake varies wildly across regions, just due to standard dietary habits. In the USA, the average intake is actually quite low, sitting around 8.4 milligrams a day. Sweden is a bit higher at 10. But look at Asian countries up at 13 milligrams, and Mediterranean countries like Spain leading the pack at 15 milligrams a day. It is literally no coincidence that regions already known for human longevity naturally consume nearly double the fasting-mimicking compounds of standard Western diets. And we have one final, completely mind-blowing fact for you today. It's actually not just about what you chew and swallow. Your gut microbiome, those trillions of bacteria living right now in your digestive tract, actually synthesizes polyamines like spermidine natively. In one really cool study, participants eating a probiotic yogurt saw increased serum levels of spermidine and improved cardiovascular markers, all because their gut bugs were manufacturing this fasting mimetic right inside them. Basically, feed your gut healthy fibers, and it will literally manufacture anti-aging medicine for you.
Which brings us to the end of our explainer today and leaves us with one incredibly powerful question to ponder. How will you trick your biological clock today? You don't have to choose between a miserable life of constant starvation and the chronic diseases of aging. By harnessing the power of caloric restriction mimetics like spermidine, you can flip on your cellular cleaning crews, clear out the junk, and extend your health span, all without missing a single meal. So what's going on your grocery list today?